I feel like many YouTubers, myself included, forget our audiences are pretty similar to the creator through common interests. In my case, I forget that since I do art on the internet, other artists end up watching my content. Truly, I really started thinking about this recently when my Discord server had gotten active again, and since the holidays are close, I wanted to show my appreciation to you guys by drawing your OCs. So, let's get into it. This first character was made by KHS. It was really interesting trying to translate this character into my style. One thing that was notable was the noses. The original design had no nose, and I was planning on having no nose in my drawing, although when you get to the liner on the speed paint, you notice that I didn't put a nose, but then I realized that it kind of looked weird, so I did end up adding the nose. Take a shot every single time I say nose. I love how their design is rather grayscale until you see the scarf. The purple and green really complement the entire palette. I love the idea of the inverted eye color, if that's what you would call it, how the sclera is black and the eye is white. It's really interesting. Unfortunately, I think the way that I drew it kind of like confused myself, at least whenever I look at it. The black in my eyes will get mistaken for the iris, but I hope that doesn't happen for you. I hope you enjoy how they came out. The next drawing is of a character named AJ. He was created by Moonfall. I really loved how this one turned out, hence why it's on the thumbnail. The story for AJ is essentially he's an orphan who ended up joining the army, got discharged, and then was asked to join a newly formed government team. Very angsty and interesting, and I loved the design. AJ's deer skull was really intriguing to me. Since I was only given the headshot view of the design, I'm not sure if this entirely fits, like what's actually happening. However, from what I can see, the entirety of the rest of his design is pretty dark and broody, while the skull, despite the subject matter being dark as well, is a light color, standing out and contrasting while altogether symbolizing the death that's happening around him. I might be looking into that too much, but either way. I really loved how the drawing turned out, and I hope you do too. Oh my god, Logan's Sona was so hard to do, not because the design was super detailed or hard to draw. No, it was hard to translate, rather. The artist has such a cartoony and expressive style that is so interesting and fun. It's probably a complete, like, flippant opposite to what my style is. The only way I can describe their style is swoopy. Also, look at this super cool art Logan made of my Sona. Very cool, very fun. I don't know what happened there. Anyways, here's how the drawing turned out. I really love this drawing too. The design and concept for Beats was really cool. Axolotl, who is a longtime community member, mentioned that the inspiration was based on how she deals with mental issues when listening to music. I love that concept. Creating art because of something personal is so cool and interesting. I actually ended up doing that for a recent art project that I'd done. It was honestly probably one of my favorite paintings that I've ever done so far. For my rendition of Beats, I wanted to add this dark and moody lighting, kind of caught up in the moment of jamming out to music, if that makes sense. Here's the final version. Although this creature design was really interesting to draw, I don't typically do art of non-human characters, but this one was really interesting and fun. I know I keep using those words, like, throughout the entire video, but you know. Since all the reference photos I was given were all in graphite, I went with a grayscale color palette for the character, but not for, like, the rest of the world, to kind of look like she is fully graphite. But yeah, if that makes sense. The little hook weapons were really fun looking. The bird skulls on the base were really fun to draw as well. When looking at the references, I was unsure of what rendition to go with. Some had wings, some didn't, some had extra charms and things, and some didn't, which I totally get. I realized after making my 8 art styles video that Cam didn't end up actually having eyebrow slits in both eyebrows, and just in the one. Anyways, end up adding the extra charms. Here's how she turned out. Elijah was really fun to draw as well. Rory has created this like really fun world, at least from what he said in the description. For background, Elijah is a 19-year-old college student in the mid-2000s. Him and his friends are paranormal investigators. I would absolutely watch a show if, like, this were to be a show. That's such a rough way of saying that, but you know. I did end up doing a little bit of an ode to the mid-2000s paranormal, like, idea with the flip phone that he's carrying in his hand. I really love how human his design is, if that makes sense. Like, my characters in OCs are typically dressed up in a very, like, done-up way that you wouldn't see on the street. However, Elijah is very casual, something that you would actually see in the real world. If this story were to be developed more and put into some sort of media, I would absolutely see people relating to this character. This is a really fun drawing to do. Bean and Bethel were created by Korn. The story behind the character is really cool. Bean was created by an elf scientist, and when she was created, she was given powers. And with those powers, Bean had made the fox named Bethel. Their goal is to try and figure out who Bean's real mom is. The drawing was really fun to do. I had created some dynamic lighting with the little, like, vial she has in her hand. I don't draw enough interesting lighting, so I'll have to do that more. I also don't draw animals enough, so Bethel was a slight challenge. I ended up just looking at a photo of a fox and then making it into Bethel. Quick fix, I guess. Anywho, the design was really fun to translate into my own style. Last but not least, we have Kuro Clouds. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Their OC, Angelo. This drawing is unfortunately not my favorite. I was doing it really late at night so that I could be on schedule, but Kuro Cloud's design is really eye-catching. Angelo has a pretty, like, matching color palette, all following this, like, deep red color. The hair is also really cool, very texturized and interesting. I think it's like a jellyfish cut that it reminds me of, which definitely not it, but it also reminds me of Ramona Flowers. I love the fact that Angelo is the type of person to make really cringy jokes. As a lover of dad jokes, there's a 99% guarantee that I would be laughing along with him. Although it isn't the best, I still hope you enjoy it. That's the end, folks. I hope today's video was a nice way to end off the year. I wanted to thank you all for joining me on this ridiculously fun ride. I started seriously uploading on this platform about 6 months ago, and we've managed to grow this small community by a lot. I hope you all continue to stick by me through this roller coaster. This is like a tongue twister that I've written for myself. Oh my god. Lots to come in the new year. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day or night. Bye-bye!